That night he came home, he didn't kiss me. He didn't say, "Hey, babe," or ask how I was feeling, or put his hand on my belly the way he usually did. He just walked into our new house, shut the door very carefully behind him, like he was sealing something, looked at me, and said, "Pack your things and get out." I was standing in the kitchen with a mug of herbal tea, wearing his old college hoodie that was too big on me, belly already showing under it. I laughed at first. I actually laughed. "I'm sorry, what?" I asked. "Brian, what are you talking about?" "Get out." Same calm tone, same controlled face he used in meetings when he told people they were fired. You know that feeling when for a second you think it's a prank, and then your body understands the truth before your brain does? My hands went cold. The mug slipped a little. The tea sloshed over my fingers, and I didn't even feel the heat. "Brian, you're scaring me. What happened? Did someone—" "I said I want you out of this house." "No, please." No explanation, just a verdict. I walked closer, heart pounding. "Did something happen at work? Are you okay? Talk to me." He finally looked at my stomach. For a heartbeat, his face softened. Then it turned into something I'd never seen before. Disgust. At me. At us. At our child. "Don't you dare act innocent, Kylie." That word, innocent, cut more than anything that came later. If you're looking at me now, you're probably thinking I must have done something terrible, right? Cheated on him, drove us into debt, lied for years. No. My biggest mistake was trusting a man who loved his image more than he loved me. "Brian," I whispered, forcing myself to breathe. "I have no idea what you're talking about." He scoffed and reached into his work bag. "Oh, I think you do." He dropped a stack of glossy photos on the kitchen island between us. They slid and fanned out, faces, bodies, colors, lights. For a second, my brain refused to connect the pieces, as if they were someone else's life. And then I saw her. Me. My face. My hair. My eyes. On a body that wasn't mine. Under club lights. In clothes I never wore. Standing on a stage I'd never stepped on. Pressed up against men I'd never seen in my life. "I got an email," Brian said, his jaw tight. "Anonymous. Said I should know who I married before the baby comes." With attachments. I thought it was a sick joke, until I opened them. My hand went to my mouth. "They're fake," I whispered. "Brian, this is not real. Someone edited these. It's not me." He tapped one photo with his finger. "That's your face, Kylie." "It's my face, yes, but not my life. It's some kind of edit. Look at the background, the shadows, the proportions. Brian, you work with numbers. You know how things can be manipulated." He shook his head. "I printed them and looked at them all day. The dates are from your student years, before we met, before we started. All this." He gestured vaguely at the house, at me, at our whole life. "You were a dancer in a club. And you did more than dancing. Don't insult me by lying to my face." "Brian, I have never done anything like that in my life. I was a broke art student, yes, but I worked at the campus library and as a babysitter, remember? I told you everything." "Apparently not everything." My eyes burned. "We've been together 6 years. 6 years! I've shared everything with you. How can you look at some photos from an unknown sender and believe them more than me?" His voice turned colder. Each word precise. "Because they fit." "Fit what?" "The fact that you never talk about your early college years. The way you always change the subject when your parents bring up your rebellious phase. The way you hate going near any kind of nightlife." I laughed through my tears. "I hate bars because loud music gives me headaches, Brian, and my parents call everything a rebellious phase if it doesn't involve church and a law degree." He ignored that. "I printed them. Someone left copies in my office too, on my chair. I'm not the only one who knows now. People talk." That word, people, told me more than anything. His fear wasn't just about me. It was about his colleagues, his bosses, his perfect image in finance. My stomach clenched. "So this is about your reputation. It's about the fact you sold yourself for money and hid it from me." There it was, the sentence that broke something inside me that will never fully heal. I stepped back, shaking. I did not. I would never. Brian, look at me. You've seen me vulnerable, sick, crying, happy. You've watched me fall asleep on the couch covered in clay. You've held my hand in the hospital when I had that scare in the first trimester. Do you really think someone like that secretly lived a double life for years and just forgot to mention it? He folded his arms. You were good at pretending, I'll give you that. A tear spilled over. And what about you? You kept saying I was your safe place, your home. Now some stranger sends you a few files and I'm suddenly the villain? He looked away. Pack your things. I'm 5 months along, I whispered. Where am I supposed to go at midnight? He inhaled deeply, as if my pregnancy was an inconvenience, not our shared miracle. You're resourceful. You managed fine back then. You'll manage now. So what? I should go back to the club and earn everything myself. Is that what you think? The sarcasm hurt my own ears. He flinched for a second. Then, with a voice I barely recognized, he said, You won't get anything from me. No money, no house. Consider this me cutting my losses. You made your choices. Live with them. There. That was the man he'd kept deep inside. The one who cared more about balance sheets than the woman carrying his child. I stared at him one last time, searching for the gentle, slightly awkward guy who used to bring me coffee at my studio and fall asleep with clay on his shirt because he helped me move a sculpture. He wasn't there. So I went upstairs, threw some clothes into a bag with shaking hands, grabbed the little ultrasound photo from the fridge, and walked out of our dream house into the rain. I always thought movie rain was exaggerated, that no city sky could open up like that at the exact moment your life falls apart. Turns out it can. By the time I reached the sidewalk, I was soaked. The hoodie clung to me, heavy and cold. The streetlights blurred into streaks. I couldn't tell if it was water or tears. I had nowhere to go, not at that hour, not looking like a drowned stray. So I walked. My phone vibrated over and over. Notifications from social media, messages popping up faster than I could read. At first I thought, maybe people somehow feel something's wrong. That's how irrational your brain gets when you're in shock. Then I made the mistake of looking. One of the photos, from his stack, posted, public, with a caption, "Sometimes you don't really know who you married." My name, his name, our faces, our pregnancy announcement photo right next to it. Comments already piling up. Shock, gossip, judgment, the usual online poison. I stopped in the middle of the sidewalk and my chest tightened so hard I couldn't breathe. The world tilted. Cars kept moving, people kept walking, but it all felt far away, like I was underwater. The last thing I remember is putting my hand on my belly and whispering, "I'm sorry, baby," before everything went black. When I woke up, the light was too white and the sheets smelled like disinfectant. "Good morning, Kylie," a calm voice said. "You're in the hospital. You fainted outside. A passerby called an ambulance. The baby is okay. You are stable. But we need you to rest." Baby, okay, stable. Those 3 words held me together when nothing else did. Later that day, my parents came. If you knew my parents, you'd know they are the kind of people who iron their pajamas and think art is a hobby you grow out of when you become serious. They're strict, conservative, proud of their perfect lawn and their perfectly predictable life. They walked in like they were visiting a distant relative, not their pregnant daughter. My mom's lips were pressed so tightly together they were almost white. My dad looked everywhere but at me. "Hi," I croaked. I'm glad you came." Silence. Finally, my mother said, "We saw." "Saw what?" I already knew, but I still asked. Hope is stubborn. She pulled out her phone with a shaking hand, scrolled once, then turned the screen toward me. The post, the photo. My name tagged. Our family friends commenting, pretending to be shocked, but secretly enjoying every second. Shame burned my skin, even though I had done nothing wrong. "Mom, it's not real," I whispered. "It's edited. Someone did this to hurt me, to hurt us." She raised an eyebrow. And why would someone do that, Kylie? People don't just invent such things for no reason. Because they're jealous. Because they're cruel. Because they want Brian. I don't know. But I swear to you, I have never worked in a club like that. I've never done anything like what those pictures show. Please, you know me. My dad finally looked at me then, and that hurt more than any insult. We thought we did, he said quietly. Tears blurred my vision. Dad, my mom cleared her throat. Your husband called us, told us everything. He is a respected man, Kylie. He works hard, he provides. He just bought you both a beautiful house, and now this spectacle. Everything he told you is wrong, I said, my voice shaking. He got an anonymous email with fake photos and believed it. He didn't even let me explain. He threw me out of our home at midnight. Don't dramatize, she snapped. If those photos are all fake, why didn't you say anything earlier? Why do people from your college years always talk about how wild you were? Wild. That word they always used when I dyed my hair once and dated someone with a motorcycle. Mom, I was an art student, not a saint. I had messy hair and stayed up late in studios, that's all. Not this. Never this. I took a breath. Can I stay with you? Just for a while. Until I figure something out. Brian told me to leave the house. I don't have anywhere else to go. My mother's eyes went cold. No. My heart stopped. What? You chose your path, she said. You chose your lifestyle. We cannot be part of this. People are already whispering. The neighbors saw the post. Your aunt sent me a message asking if it was true. How do you expect us to live with this shame? Shame. Always more important than love. So that's it? I choked. Your daughter is in a hospital, pregnant, with nowhere to go, and your main concern is what the neighbors think. My father shifted uncomfortably, but he didn't speak up. We can help with medical bills if needed, he muttered. But you shouldn't come to stay with us right now. It's complicated. Complicated? What a polite word for we're turning our backs on you. I felt something go numb inside me. You saw some pictures and a post, and that's enough to erase 30 years of knowing who I am? My mom looked at the monitor next to my bed instead of at me. We need time, she said. And so do you. Maybe think about the kind of life you want to bring this child into. They left with a soft click of the door, taking whatever was left of my old life with them. That night, alone in that white humming hospital room, I put my hand on my belly and made a promise. If no one wants us, I whispered, we'll want ourselves. If no one believes me, I'll believe me. I don't know how, but I'll build us a life. I'm scared out of my mind, but I won't give up on you. Or on me. It's funny. I never felt weaker in my life than in those days. But that promise was the first brick in the new foundation. I had a few $1,000s in savings, money I'd earned selling my sculptures online, at small galleries, through commissions. Money that smelled like clay and late nights and calloused hands. I used it to rent a room in an old building in a not-so-great but not-so-bad part of the city. Peeling walls, squeaky stairs, thin doors. But it was mine. Ours. And that's where I met Liza. She was my neighbor across the hall. 20 years old, headphones always around her neck, hair in a messy bun, t-shirt with some tech joke I didn't understand. She worked part-time in tech support and studied computer science. She swore like a sailor and smiled like the sun. The first time she saw me, I was struggling with a box and my growing belly. She held open the door and said, "Whoa, either you swallowed a beach ball or there's a tiny tenant in there." Despite everything, I laughed. "Tiny tenant," I said. 5 months. She helped me carry my boxes in without asking too many questions. She noticed the sculpting tools and clay. "Oh, you're one of those people who can make rocks look like real people," she said. "Respect. I can barely draw a stick figure." Over the next few days, she knocked with random offerings, leftover pizza, a half-eaten bag of chips, a plant she wasn't sure how to care for. She talked about her classes, her annoying group projects, the old couple downstairs who fought over crossword puzzles. And one evening, when she found me crying quietly over a cracked clay piece, she sat down on the floor next to me and said, "Okay, I know we barely know each other, but I'm not blind. You're pregnant, alone, and moved in with exactly 3 boxes and 0 furniture. Either you're starting a minimalist cult or something went really, really wrong. Want to talk about it? I looked at this almost stranger with messy hair and kind eyes, and for the first time since everything blew up, I felt safe enough to tell the truth. So I did. I told her everything. From the photos to the post, to the hospital, to my parents' rejection. Every word tasted like glass, but she listened. No interruptions, no judgment, just a growing fire in her eyes. When I finished, she didn't rush to comfort me. She swore, loudly, colorfully. "Your ex is an idiot," she said finally. Like, world-class, Olympic-level idiot. And whoever sent those photos, rotten. But you know what offends me the most? What? I sniffled. That he believed some random files more than the woman carrying his child. 6 years together, and his first instinct is, yeah, sounds legit. Let me post it online. Wow. Impressive lack of brain cells. I let out a wet laugh. Everyone else believed it too. Everyone else is lazy, she said. It's easier to believe a scandal than to check facts. But I believe you. Those 3 words, I believe you, unlocked something in my chest. I hadn't realized how desperately I needed to hear them. Why? I whispered. You don't even know me. She shrugged. Because your story doesn't add up for a liar. Liars always over-explain. They give too many details, then get tired and slip up. You just hurt. Also, I do tech. I know how easy it is to edit something. People forget that. Days passed. I tried to build some kind of routine, sculpt a little, rest, answer no calls. And then one evening, Liza knocked on my door, frowning for once instead of smiling. Hey, she said. I just saw something weird. My stomach tightened. What now? I was near the business district, she said, cutting through by your husband's office on my way back from class, and I saw him. The word him still hurt, like a bruise. Okay, I said carefully. He wasn't alone, she went on. There was this woman with him. They left the building together. She was laughing at everything he said like he'd just invented oxygen. Then they got into his car. Just the 2 of them. She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo she'd snapped from across the street. It was a little grainy but clear enough. Brian, his car, a woman getting in on the passenger side, leaning a bit too close, her hand touching his arm. My breath caught. Zoom in, I whispered. She did. And there she was. Anna. Perfect hair, perfect coat, perfect smile. A very familiar smile. I've seen her before, I said slowly. In his office on some photos, and at events. She's his coworker, Anna. Something twisted in my chest. A memory surfaced. A company dinner. Anna laughing too loudly at one of Brian's not funny jokes, her hand resting on his forearm a little too long. The way she once told me, "You're so lucky, Kylie. A man like Brian? So rare." With a sweetness that felt like it had teeth. I remembered the way she'd looked at me once when she thought I wasn't watching. Not with friendliness, but with calculation. My hands curled into fists. She tried to flirt with him once, I said quietly. At that dinner. I thought I was imagining it. She was always too nice to everyone, but with him? I don't know. It felt off. Oh, Liza said slowly. Office Anna. That explains a lot. What explains what? I asked. Anonymous email, photos that magically appear on his office chair, and now Miss Perfect coworker riding in his car after hours? Liza's voice sharpened. I know I'm a student, but even I can connect these dots. I stared at the picture, at Anna's bright hair next to his dark suit, at the way he leaned in slightly as she spoke. You think she did it? I whispered. You think she sent those photos? I think she had motive, access, and an excellent timing, Liza said. And the way she clung to him? She looked like someone who wants his life, house included. A cold clarity settled over me. She works part-time at a cafe near their office, I said slowly. He told me once, said she likes to stay busy. She brings her laptop there, works on slides, reports. She practically lives in that place. Liza's eyes lit up. The one on 7th Avenue? With the terrible matcha latte? I think so. She grinned, a little too widely. I go there sometimes. Their Wi-Fi is decent. And if she works there, that means she uses her laptop there, on public Wi-Fi, in a crowded place, with people like me around. I frowned. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, she said slowly, that I hate injustice. And I don't mind getting a little creative. You saw them together. You already had a bad feeling about her before. Now we have a suspect, not just a theory. You said you don't want revenge? Fine. But you do want the truth, right? I want to prove I'm not who those pictures say I am, I said. For my baby, for myself. And now, I want to know who decided to ruin my life. Then let's find proof, Liza said. Real proof. Not just I saw them together and my gut says she's fake. Facts, files, dates, logs, the stuff that makes people like your ex shut up. How? I asked. She gave me a conspiratorial smile. Leave that to me. The next day, while I sat in my tiny room trying to sculpt with hands that still shook and a heart that still hurt, Liza went to study at the cafe near Brian's office. Hours later, she burst into my room like a storm, cheeks flushed, eyes blazing, laptop under her arm. Okay, she said, slightly out of breath. First of all, I accidentally spilled coffee on your husband's coworker. Well, not accidentally, but we'll call it that. It was very satisfying. Secondly, I found something. My heart jumped. You saw Anna? Oh yeah. White shirt, perfect hair, fake smile, the whole package. She was working behind the counter, then sat down with her laptop for a break. I ordered something that tasted like melted cardboard, waited until she got up to talk to her manager, and she wiggled her fingers. Installed a little program on her laptop when she wasn't looking. I stared. Is that even legal? She winced. Let's not think too hard about that. Point is, I got remote access. Not forever, just long enough. And guess what your dear ex's angelic coworker has in her files? She opened her laptop and turned it to me. There they were. Folders, names, dates. One called Fun Edits, another called Kylie Project. My stomach lurched. Liza clicked. Inside were images, layers, the original photo of a dancer, faceless. Another file with my face cut out from an old college group photo. Layered, blended, adjusted. That's me, I whispered, touching the screen. That's my freshman year hair. That's the blue sweater my mom hated. That's my roommate's apartment behind me. Anna took it from your social media, Liza said, or someone's tagged pictures. She cut your face out, put it on someone else's body, and did some edits. Amateur, but good enough to fool someone who wants to be fooled. My eyes filled with tears. So it really is fake. Yep. Liza's voice was sharp. And look at this. She opened another folder. Screenshots of emails sent from anonymous accounts, subject lines. Know who you married. For your own good? Open your eyes. Drafts, templates, some with attached images. She wrote them, I said slowly. She sent them to him. She also searched things like how to make metadata look older and change date on photos, Liza added. Not subtle at all. In another folder were notes. Brian's favorite coffee order, his schedule, jokes he liked, little observations, obsessions, like a diary of someone building a fantasy life with a man who wasn't hers. That's why she did it, I murmured. She wanted him, his status, his house, his whole perfect life. And I was in the way. Bingo, Liza said. So she made him think you were not good enough, so that throwing you out would feel like protecting himself. I wanted to be sick. Instead, I took a shaky breath. Can we save these? Liza grinned. Already did. Screen recordings, backups, the works. I recorded everything I clicked, time-stamped. With her Wi-Fi network name visible, it's as solid as it can be. Oh, and the coffee? She added with a wicked smile. On my way out, I walked by her table, tripped, and spilled the rest right onto her perfect white shirt. She glared at me like I'd ruined her life. If only she knew. For the first time since everything exploded, I laughed. Really laughed. It felt like oxygen rushing into a cramped room. That night I sent Brian an email. No long explanations, no begging, just a simple message. These files are fake. Here is proof. Watch the screen recording. Decide for yourself who you really should be angry at. Kylie. I attached everything Liza had collected. The screen recording of Anna's folders, the original photos, the layered files, the anonymous email drafts. For an hour, there was nothing. Then my phone rang. Brian. I stared at the screen, my heart hammering. I answered. Stop, he snapped before I could say hello. His voice was harsh, cracked. Stop sending me these things. I don't want to see them. I've seen the photos. I know what you are. I don't care what tricks you're playing now. Did you even open the files? I asked quietly. I don't need to. I'm not stupid, Kylie. You're just trying to make yourself look innocent. It's pathetic. I felt my jaw clench. You're right, I said softly. You're not stupid, but you are cowardly. You would rather cling to the most painful version of the story than admit you were wrong. You ruined my life, he hissed. No, I said, someone else did, and I just sent you her name. He hung up. I stood there, phone in my hand, breathing slowly, feeling the baby shift inside me like she was reminding me she was still there. He doesn't want the truth, I told Liza. He wants a story that makes him look like the victim. Give it time, she said. Sometimes people have to hit the floor before they look up. An hour later, my phone rang again. This time his voice was different, raw, frantic. Kylie. He was breathing hard. I watched it. Good, I said. My tone surprised even me, calm, steady. Then you know. He swallowed loudly. It was Anna. She did it. All of it, the edits, the emails. I confronted her. She confessed, said she was saving me from you. She's fired. HR is involved. I can't believe I was so stupid. Silence stretched between us. I am so sorry, he said. Kylie, please. I don't have words. I don't know what I was thinking. I let my fear and my job and my pride get in the way. I hurt you. I hurt our baby. I hurt everyone. I went to my parents, to our friends. I told them things. You posted them online, I cut in. Don't forget that part. He sobbed once, a broken sound. I know, I deleted it, but I know that's not enough. I already started putting out a statement. I posted again. I told everyone that the photos were fake. I shared what I could without making it too technical. I told them, you are innocent, that I was wrong, that I should never have doubted you. I'm calling people, my parents, our friends. I'm telling everyone the truth. I'll do more. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Please, tell me where you are. Let me come to you. I miss you. I miss our child. I want us back. I closed my eyes. I could almost see him, standing in our perfect house, surrounded by flowers I picked, furniture we chose together. Realizing that his perfect life was built on sand because he cared more about looking clean than being kind. I don't want you to come here, I said. Kylie, please. I want you to keep doing what you're doing, I interrupted. Keep telling people the truth. Put my name back where it belongs. Clear it completely, not halfway, not with vague words like a misunderstanding. I want you to say it clearly. It was a lie. I did nothing wrong. That's the minimum. I will, he said quickly. I swear, I already started. I'll call everyone. I'll talk to HR. And then, I said quietly, maybe we can talk. Not about getting back together, just talk. He went quiet. So you're saying there's hope? I'm saying there's a sequence, I replied. First you fix what you broke, then we talk. That's all. He clung to that like a drowning man to driftwood. Okay, I'll do it. You'll see. I'll show you I can change. We hung up. He did what he promised. The next days were a strange blur. People started messaging me. Some apologized. Some said they'd always had doubts about the photos but stayed quiet. My mother called, voice trembling, saying she didn't know what to believe anymore. Brian publicly posted that I was innocent. He wrote that the images were fake, that someone manipulated him, that I had never done what they implied. He even shared a redacted screenshot of part of Liza's recording, enough to show the truth without revealing every detail. Anna lost her job. There was talk of legal action. I didn't follow it closely. I was too tired. One evening, a week later, there was a knock at my parents' door. Yes, I said, my parents' door. Because after Brian's public apology, they called me again. This time with tears, not judgment. They said they believed me now, that they were ashamed of how quickly they turned away, that they wanted me to come home. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell them what it felt like to watch them choose gossip over their own child. But I was 7 months pregnant, exhausted, scared. And despite everything, I still loved them. So I moved back in. Not as their child who needed their approval, but as a woman who was choosing the safest place for her baby. Back to the knock. My father opened the door. And there he was, Brian, standing on my parents' front lawn with a bouquet so big it looked ridiculous. Roses, hundreds of them, maybe 1,000, some cliché number people use in grand gestures. He looked smaller somehow. Not physically. He was still tall, still in one of his expensive suits. But his shoulders slumped. His eyes were red-rimmed. He looked like a man who had been forced to finally see himself. My mom gasped. My dad stiffened. I stepped into the hallway, one hand on my belly. He saw me and his eyes filled with tears. "Kylie," he whispered. I crossed my arms. "What are you doing here?" He swallowed. "I wanted to say I'm sorry, in person. To you, to your parents, to our baby." He glanced at my stomach and flinched like the reality hurt him. "I know I'm the last person you want to see," he said. "But I needed to try. You have every right to shut the door in my face. I would deserve it. But I love you. I never stopped loving you. I just let my fear turn me into someone I don't recognize. I believed a lie because it was easier than admitting I'd misjudged someone. I put my pride over you, over everything. And I will regret that for the rest of my life." My mother wiped her eyes. My father stared at the floor. "I posted everything," Brian continued. "I told everyone the truth. I spoke to HR. They know it wasn't you. I went to my parents, my friends, my coworkers. I told them I lied, or worse, I repeated someone else's lie without checking. I don't expect them to respect me after this. I just want you to know I did it." He held out the bouquet awkwardly. These are for you. I know they don't fix anything, but I didn't know what else to bring." For a moment, the old part of me, the part that loved him, that built a home with him, that dreamed about our child playing in that home, wanted to take the flowers, to say we'd find a way back. But then I remembered the rain, the hospital, my parents turning me away, the comments, the shame, the way he had looked at me and seen a stranger. I remembered the sentence, "You won't get anything from me. Go earn it yourself in the club." And I remembered the promise I made in that hospital bed. I shook my head. "Bring them to someone who doesn't know what you did," I said calmly. "Maybe they'll see just a romantic gesture. I see a bandage on a wound you caused with your own hands." He flinched like I'd slapped him. "I know, I want to make it right." "You can't make it right," I said softly. "You can only make it honest. And you've started doing that. For that, I'm grateful. Truly. You cleared my name. You gave me my reputation back. You gave our child a future without a lie hanging over her." I took a breath. "But you can't give me back the nights I spent wondering if I was crazy. The hours in that hospital. The way my parents looked at me. The way strangers talked about me. You can't give me back the version of myself who still believed you would fight for me, not against me when things got hard." A tear slid down his cheek. "I will spend my life trying to be better," he whispered. "Then be better," I replied. "For yourself, for whoever comes after me, for the next woman lucky or unlucky enough to stand next to you. But I won't be there to watch that journey." He stared at me desperate. "What about the baby? Don't I get to see her?" I felt my hand tighten on my belly. You doubted she was even yours, I reminded him. You threw us both out over an email. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. I will do what the law says, I said quietly. But as for my heart, for our everyday life, you are not part of that anymore. He looked at the bouquet like it had betrayed him. So this is it, he whispered. This is me choosing myself, I said. And choosing her. I can't build a home on ground that cracked the first time someone whispered a rumor. We stood there for a long moment, surrounded by my parents' carefully trimmed hedges and perfectly aligned garden gnomes, the air heavy with things that would never be said. Then he nodded. Slow. Defeated. I understand, he said. Or at least, I'm trying to. He set the bouquet down on the porch, turned and walked away. I watched him go, my heart heavy but strangely calm. Behind me, my mother sniffled. We're so sorry, Kylie, she whispered. We should have believed you. I turned to her, tired. Trust once broken can't be fixed overnight, I said. But unlike him, you came back before it was too late. She pulled me into a careful hug, her hand on my belly. My dad joined, his arms stiff at first, then tighter. Liza later insisted we throw the roses out. They're beautiful, she admitted, but they smell like mixed signals. We pressed one between the pages of a book anyway, not as a symbol of him, as a reminder of what we survived. Months passed. I sculpted again, slowly at first. My hands found strength I didn't know they had. I shaped clay into mothers holding children, women standing alone but unbroken, faces that looked a little like mine and a little like every woman who'd ever been doubted. My parents tried. They really tried. They asked about my projects, drove me to checkups, painted the spare room a soft color when we knew it was going to be a girl. And then, one early morning, after hours of pain and fear and whispered prayers, I heard the tiniest cry. They placed her on my chest, warm, heavy, real. Hi, Eve, I whispered, trembling. Welcome to the world. Her little fingers curled around mine like she'd been waiting for this moment forever. Liza burst into the room later with balloons and the ugliest stuffed animal I'd ever seen. I'm officially the coolest godmother in this hospital, she announced. The nurse agreed. I asked. Eve's eyes were still trying to focus, but I like to think she knew she was surrounded by people who actually deserved to be there. We don't talk to Brian now. Not because I want to erase him from existence. You can't erase someone you once loved, someone who is in the very DNA of your child, but because I learned something the hardest possible way. Love without trust is just anxiety with flowers. So that's my story. I was 29 when my life looked perfect. Dream house, planned pregnancy, a calm marriage with a man who loved quiet evenings and spreadsheets. I was 30 when my husband threw me out in the rain over fake photos and an anonymous email, when my parents turned their backs because the internet told them to, when strangers judged me more harshly than they would judge a criminal. I was 30 when a sarcastic, messy-haired student with a laptop and a big heart saw my husband getting too cozy in a car with his coworker, trusted her instincts, and decided to help me prove the truth. And I was 30 when I chose to walk away from someone who finally understood how wrong he'd been. Because understanding is not the same as being safe. If you're listening to this and wondering what the moral is, I guess it's this. People will believe whatever fits the story they want to tell about themselves. The man who needs to see himself as a victim will cling to any proof that you hurt him, even when the real betrayal is his lack of trust. The parents who want to see their world as neat and predictable will choose gossip over complexity. You can't control that. What you can control is who you remain when the world turns its back. I refuse to become the villain in someone else's fantasy. I refuse to apologize for a past that was never mine. I refuse to stay with someone who would sacrifice me to protect his image. Trust once broken can't be fixed with apologies, posts, or 1,000 roses. It's fixed with actions long before it ever cracks. And if someone chooses not to act until everything is already shattered, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is leave the pieces on the ground and walk away.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and explore our channel for more love, betrayal, and redemption tales.